Welcome to Village in Motion this Tuesday, August 21st. I'm Clint Lambert. I have the privilege of being the host today on a show where we're going to talk about Garden Ridge and about home support. And we're going to start with Garden Ridge with the new, fresh out of resident life, director of Garden Ridge, our own Donna Epps. Glad to have you with us, Donna.
Good to be here in a different capacity.
Different capacity,
Yeah.
That's right. And you've been in the capacity now for how long? What do you call Garden Ridge Administrator, Director? What is it?
Well, I am the Director of Continuing Care, which encompasses the memory care unit, assisted living,
Okay.
and then long-term care and skilled nursing and short-term rehab.
Okay. So everything that's over on that side of the street.
Yes.
And you've been here at Greenspring now for 2 years?
Not quite. I started in March of 2017 for just about a year and a half.
Oh, okay. And you were at Resident Life until?
Until July the 8th. George Rallis was the former director, and when he left, there's some people who knew I still had my nursing home administrator's license because of the skilled component in Garden Ridge. There has to, and because of assisted living, there has to be a licensed administrator. Oh. So I have actually had my nursing home administrator's license since 2007. So I have worked for other companies, and when I came to Erickson back in March of 2017, I accepted the job as the resident life director, and that gave me just a different perspective, yes. If you will.
And that's truly one way of saying it,
yes.
right? Mm-hmm. Because you really did get a different perspective,
yes,
with all the things that go on in resident life.
Yes, I did.
And what's going to happen with resident life?
Well, I am pleased to say, and I think she's already been on Village in Motion, that we have another Greenspring native, if you will, who is the interim director of resident life, and that's Karen Hall.
Right.
Karen used to be the rehab manager in Garden Ridge, and then she went through Erickson's administrator in training program, right, and is in the process of becoming a licensed administrator herself.
And she's going to be on next on today's show.
Great.
Okay.
Great.
So, we look forward to that. You then were selected, and you volunteered your license.
Yeah. Yes.
To go across the street.
That's the way to put it. Mm-hmm.
And that means that all of the things over there that you mentioned are now under your direction.
Yes.
In regards to it. And there are going to be some changes coming up?
Well, there were already some changes in the works. As everyone knows, there's been a major construction project going on in the construction of the new memory care assisted living wing, Dogwood Commons.
Right.
And so the major part of that is now complete. So we're actually waiting for the use and occupancy and permitting and licensing to be completed, and then we can move forward with staff training and moves, et cetera. So that's kind of been a moving target, because we do have to wait until we get the usage and occupancy completed. So that should be done very soon. So once that is done, we will be able to give some more detailed information about resident moves, about tours, et cetera.
It really takes a long time, doesn't it, to get the licensure to allow for the move-in? I mean, all the different processes you have to go.
Yes.
And is all that done by the county or by the state or feds? Or?
That's mostly a county process. I'm actually still learning about some of that process myself, but there are different inspections that have to be done before we can actually officially occupy the building. And we're very fortunate that we have a project manager in Greg Porter, who also has a background in nursing home administration, who's helping us to lead that charge, and he coordinates with the corporate project management team and with general services.
Wonderful.
So
Wonderful.
It's going along nicely.
Which works out very nicely then in regards to that. Do we have an anticipated date, or are we just totally just waiting?
At this time, I am not going to give any dates because our main piece of the timeline is getting the use and occupancy, and once that's done, then we can move on from the dates from there. So, and because there's so many people involved, there's so many factors involved, once we get that nailed down, then we can further communicate.
And that's the reason that the gates, the work area service road off of the main street, that's the reason that's locked at the present time, right, in regards to it. So with the things that are happening and waiting for that, you guys just recently had a lobster fest, didn't you?
We did, and that was such a wonderful event. That was this past Friday, and look for pictures from that event at a later time. But that was just a great celebration, a great family type atmosphere. I want to acknowledge the Garden Ridge programming team, the dining team, general services. In fact, there's some pictures there.
Oh, yes,
and it was such a wonderful collaborative experience. We had a lot of families come out. We saw our residents' children, grandchildren. We had volunteers from independent living. It was quite an event. We had great music. There's some of the lobsters there. It was just a great experience because I know that this is an annual event, but it was my first time participating. We got a little dancing in, so.
Very good.
Yes.
Very good.
Very nice event.
Very nice. With the different events and your background now with resident life and all the community resource people and everything else, do you foresee, and I know you have to make plans for it, but do you foresee maybe in the future of having more functions between independent living and continuing care?
Absolutely, and I think that because of my experience with resident life, and we have a team on both sides, both our programming team in Garden Ridge and the resident life department, but also with the collaboration and communication with our health services. So yes, you will see, I think, a lot more collaboration. In fact, I had a meeting with our program manager, Renee Budd, this morning, and she's actually going to be reaching out to Karen Hall because there are some events coming up that we do want to collaborate on and include independent living staff and residents and Garden Ridge activities, as well as include Garden Ridge staff and residents in the independent living activities. So absolutely, there'll be a lot more of that.
And then we have the residents, the volunteers, the ambassadors.
Yes.
That go over, and that's under Lynn O'Connor. Right?
Yes, absolutely. And I'm looking forward to working with her in a different capacity. And our next big event that is coming up is next Wednesday. We have Garden Ridge Goes to the Chapel, and we have many of the ambassadors and staff who will be volunteering to make sure that Garden Ridge residents actually go to one of the most anticipated events of the year. So I think last year we had over 65 residents who were able to go to the chapel.
Very good. Anything else coming up going on within the next month?
Well, I think that's enough. I'm still meeting staff,
yes,
and it's a wonderful team over there. A lot of spirit. I've met with some of the family members as well. So it's just very nice to be able to continue my career here at Greenspring, and hopefully just bring some fresh eyes and a different perspective, since I did have the opportunity to work with the independent living residents and groups, et cetera, and I will continue to do the same thing at Garden Ridge as well.
Oh, that's wonderful, because you have really contributed a ray of sunlight to all of us.
Well, thank you.
Greatly appreciate
very much.
Greatly appreciate it. What can residents do as far as, and I'm asking you as newbie over there, what can residents do to help you, help the staff, help the residents who reside in Garden Ridge area?
I think just remembering that we're all part of the same community. I see many of the same people in Garden Ridge that I do on the independent living side of the community, and just to remember that we're all part of the same community. We all live and work in a continuing care retirement community, and we are here to meet the needs of all of our residents and to meet our family members' expectations. And whether you live in Garden Ridge or in independent living, our goal is to make sure that you have peace of mind.
Very good. Well, worry-free, right?
Worry-free living.
All right.
Absolutely.
Very good. Well, Donna, thank you so much for being with us today, and great future with us, and we want you to stay around a long, long time.
I don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon. So
Good.
thank you very much.
Good. Thanks again. Come back soon.